My brother asked me the other night a very difficult question. When will superhero comics return to the way they used to be? Every superhero comic we see today has become drenched in socio-political drivel. It's attempting to become woke, dated, and based on nothing more than the creator's personal ideologues. What made superheroes great, and when will we see stuff like that again? There's no easy way to answer that question, but I tried. And today, as we prepare to celebrate Independence Day, I want to remember the sacrifices made to make this country great. The heroes who were built by the values and virtues of this nation, the death of an icon, and what can be done to maintain the superhero ideal. Like most superheroes in Western media, Captain America was built on an ideal, a virtue. For example, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, was built on a famous phrase, with great power comes great responsibility. Captain America was built on the American ideal, that belief, that success, liberty, and freedom are available to everyone. All it takes is a desire to work for it. Steve Rogers, Captain America, was a wimpy nobody. He was small, weak, and frail, but he never stopped working to achieve his dream. And his dream was to become an American hero, to make a difference. When given a chance and given the opportunity, he took it. From taking that chance and never getting in or failing his principles, he became the American iconic hero. He wears a shield as his weapon because he's the defender of American values, the protector of freedom and democracy. He's not out to kill or destroy, to rip apart or to divide, but to guard and to defend. He famously said, "I am loyal to nothing but the dream." The American dream, the dream that every man and woman is bound with a God-given right to freedom, liberty, and the right to pursue your happiness and dreams. And that this dream should be available to any willing to be like the captain. These values are what defined Captain America. And these are the values I admired about him. A nobody who never stopped trying, never quit, worked his ass off to become better than he was. And then when given a chance, he took that chance and became a hero for everyone to look up to. But now, in this recent comic by Christopher Cantwell, Captain America sits in his house, polishing his shield while lamenting that the American dream is a lie. Because a dream isn't real, and people who believe in it walk away disappointed when they don't get what they want. He says that the dream is something people expect to be handed, and when they don't get it, they realize it was never real, that it was a lie, that the dream is only reserved for the rich and powerful. He laments something called the white picket fence fallacy, that this America doesn't get along well with reality, with the poor, with the immigrants, and with other cultures. And this, for me, was the final nail in the coffin for Captain America. Captain America didn't die when the writers decided to make him an undercover Hydra agent. He didn't die when they tried to make him a clone, no. But here, watching Captain America abandon the virtues and values that built him, that built America, this is the death of Captain America. This is a hole from which I don't ever see him coming out of. But why? Why does this destroy him? Because this is Captain America forgetting the values that he once stood for. He has been sacrificed on an altar so his writer can take a cheap shot at the United States. You see, success is not something freely given. It's not something you're entitled to. It does not care about your nation of origin, your gender, your race, or your financial position. Success can be reached by any man or woman with the willingness to incur risk, to work hard, and to better themselves and those around them. Steve Rogers was the army recruit who threw himself on a live grenade to save his soldiers, knowing it could kill him. Not the one who cried at the idea that someone would throw a grenade in his direction in the first place. Steve Rogers was the weakling who tried his hardest to get into the army despite not being physically able. Not a brat who cried at home about the unfairness of the fact that he was born with a weak body. Steve Rogers was the man who found and punched Hitler in the face for daring to spread evil around the world, who rallied soldiers of every race, creed, and background to stand behind him against evil. Now he's the soldier who sits quietly at home, lamenting that people don't get along and some people are not in a similar position financially. This goes into what I believe is wrong with the superhero character in today's comics. Superheroes are supposed to represent a moral virtue or value that was agreed upon. We all understood it, backed it, and believed in it. Batman represents justice. He seeks justice for those who cannot defend themselves. Wonder Woman represents truth. She holds herself and the world to fundamental truths of life, morality, and law. Iron Man represented responsibility. He holds himself and others responsible for the actions they take and the mistakes they make. Captain America, meanwhile, represents the American values of liberty and the American dream that anyone can become what they strive to be given enough hard work, strength of will, and the incurring of risk. He improved himself no matter the hardship because he had the freedom and opportunity to do so. Why do they represent these things? Because they stood against the antithesis of those things. Consider the villain that these heroes fight. In Captain America's case, Red Skull represents absolute fascism and the totalitarian dictatorship therein. No one is free to make their own way, and all are defined by their birth, their destiny, and their role in existence. You are given what you get, deal with it. The superhero is the value that we believe in, standing in opposition to the moral evil that we hate. It is good versus evil. It is moralistic truth versus moral evil. It is an evil that we recognize. It is a wrong we seek to see removed. An evil we fear. The killers, the monsters, the dictators, those who would strip us of our rights and freedoms. But now, comic book heroes no longer represent the virtues that we all agree on. They don't represent virtue, they represent ideologues of their writers, the socio-political talking points. Because of this, their foes must represent their antithesis. That rule hasn't changed. Therefore, if the ideologue of the day is one having to do with racism being wrong, then you can bet that the hero will be someone who stands up for the oppressed race, usually being of that racial minority themselves, and the villain will likely be an over-the-top racist, usually being white. If the ideologue is that all borders should be open, then the hero will spend their comic fighting to let immigrants stay in the country, while painting the villains as those who oppose open borders, whether they're evil politicians or just police and government agents doing their jobs. Why is this a problem? Because ideologues change and aren't universally shared. When they are not universally shared, then your audience will be divided on how they feel about the hero. When the ideologue is no longer relevant, then no one will care about it later on. As an example, people almost never get tired of seeing Hitler get punched in the face because everyone recognizes him as an evil monster from every moral standpoint. But no one really cares about anti-King George propaganda from the Revolutionary War because that ideologue is no longer relevant. It's a relic. Captain America once stood for an ideal that we all could agree on, that every person was created equal. It was a stance that the civil rights leaders marched for, a stance that our founding fathers pushed for in their Declaration of Independence and in the Constitution. That everyone has a chance to make something of themselves if they simply have the will and the work ethic to achieve their goals. But what's worse than all of this is not that Captain America believes this dream isn't real. It's that he's not fighting to make it real. Captain America says the American dream isn't real, and yet he made his own dream real. He had the dream to become an American hero, a soldier who fought to protect his country. Though born unable, he still dreamed and worked hard to achieve it, and then he made it real. How can he say the American dream isn't real when it is that very dream that made him real? This is not the Captain America I knew. That captain is dead, and I grieve his loss. And yet, there is still hope for superheroes. Not everyone has forgotten what it takes to make them great. In Japan, one of the most popular manga being released is Boku no Hero Academia, a manga about a young boy named Izuku who wants to be a superhero but wasn't born with a power. He meets his icon, All Might, the world's greatest hero. A hero who is actually a nod to American heroes like Captain America, right down to his broad smile, his color scheme, and his attacks being named after American cities and states. All Might was no one. He was a weakling with no power, but he too dreamed of becoming a hero, becoming a symbol that the world could look upon and believe in. He worked, he trained, and he achieved it. And now, as he sees his time coming to an end, he finds Izuku, a boy with that same dream and that same desire, wanting nothing more than to be the symbol of peace, hope, and justice. So he grants Izuku Midoriya the chance. Note, I did not say success. He granted him the chance. He works him for months, trains him to the breaking point, and pushes him to his limits. And Izuku exceeds all of his expectations. At no point did Izuku or All Might throw in the towel, lamenting the unfairness of the world, crying about the injustice, moaning about how nothing is fair, and that means the virtues they want to represent are all lies. They work, they fight, they defy what others say. Do they have their down points? Yes, they do. And yet, they still overcome, and they become the greatest heroes in the world, because All Might is built upon the very same values and virtues that Captain America was. Notice the similarity? But one of these two has forgotten those values and virtues. The other has upheld them and passed them on. Captain America was the same way, standing for values and standing for a dream that he fought for. He earned through blood, sweat, and tears. But he forgot that and is now crying that things are unfair. That is why Captain America is dead. And that is why heroes like All Might, Izuku Midoriya, and manga like Boku no Hero Academia are surpassing Marvel Comics. Happy Independence Day, everyone. Happy birthday to the greatest country in the world. And may all of you never stop fighting for the virtues, values, and dreams that you cling to. Because guess what? Captain America was right that a dream isn't real. Until you fight to make it real. And where else can you fight to make your dreams real than in the United States of America, where we have the God-given right to pursue our dreams? Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video.